The defense squad finally managed to take down the terrifying Kaiju No. 9. But of course, luck wasn't on their side, because these were just clones. The real body had been hiding this whole time and was ready to cause some serious damage. Kafka flashes back to a traumatic day from his childhood. A 6.7 fortitude kaiju decided to drop in like it owned the place. Chaos everywhere, buildings crumbling, civilians screaming, and tiny Kafka and Mina running for their lives. That is, until Mina faceplants mid-sprint. Kafka slaps on the fakest smile in history. "We're totally fine. No big kaiju trauma happening here." But before he can finish pretending, a shockwave smashes the building. He dives for cover, and when he opens his eyes, Mina's gone. Then boom, cut to the present. Armed soldiers aiming their guns. But instead of blasting some beast, we see Mina standing on a rooftop, looking like a boss, aiming her weapon right at Kafka. She calls him Kaiju No. 8 and gives the order to fire. Bullets fly from every angle, but Kafka just gets knocked back a little like he is being hit with Nerf guns. Then he snaps. He goes full beast mode and blasts a massive energy beam that destroys a helicopter like it was made of paper. Everyone freaks out. His fortitude is off the charts. He fires another blast, turning the scenery into rubble. But plot twist, he wakes up, just a nightmare. Kafka sighs in relief, then immediately falls off the bed like a sleep-deprived toddler. Meanwhile, at the Defense Forces Tokoa base, Mina's staring at the aftermath of the chaos. Soshiro walks in, all serious, saying it has been 5 days since Kafka's situation hit the fan, and the top brass still has no idea what to do with him. Dude is still locked up. They look over the broken buildings and agree. It will be a while before this place looks less like an apocalypse zone. Mina remembers how Kafka saved everyone, even though the shockwaves nearly wrecked the city doing it. Then she switches gears. Isn't today the day the rookies meet their new units? Soshiro nods. They are probably on the way right now. Cut to Reno and Iharu in a car, driving to their new division. Reno's in emo mode, so Iharu, being the genius he is, pulls over and fakes excitement about taking selfies with Matsumoto Castle. He begs Reno for a photo shoot. Later, they chill on a bench. Iharu tells him not to stress. It is just day one. Reno plays it cool, but Iharu can see through it. Then he checks his phone and sees Kafka's profile. Message still unread. That makes him wonder, what is going to happen to the guy? Someone like Kafka can't exactly go back to desk duty after turning into a walking nuclear warhead. Soon they reach their destination, the Defense Forces 4th Division. Reno silently vows to grow stronger, so he never has to rely on Kafka again. Over in the 1st Division, Kikoru is checking the group chat. All her old squad mates are flexing about their new units. She remembers Kaiju No. 8 sparring with her dad and decides she has to level up fast. Just then, she is interrupted by Hasegawa, the 1st Division's vice captain. He shows up to escort her to meet the captain. On the walk over, he reminds her that this station is temporary while Tokoa Base gets rebuilt. Kikoru knows this division's rep. Even back in America, people whispered their name like it was a myth. If she wants to grow stronger, this is the place. They reach the captain's door. Kikoru mentally prepares to meet the strongest person in Japan, her new mentor. The door opens and the guy is gaming, not training, not meditating, just blasting noobs in Call of Duty. Hasegawa looks like he wants to disappear. He tells her to wait and enters the room alone. He then kicks the captain off his bed like a frustrated roommate. Turns out the captain, Narumi, did know about the meeting. He just chose not to care. Hasegawa is done with the nonsense, saying the room belongs to the Defense Force, not Narumi's personal man cave. Narumi argues about cleaning like it is a sacred art form. Eventually, Hasegawa picks him up, and that is when Narumi finally notices Kikoru outside. The vice captain introduces her. Kikoru, who was expecting a military legend, is now stuck wondering how a Call of Duty gremlin is supposed to be her inspiration. And that was her first impression of Captain Narumi. Shinomiya salutes like it's a military movie, but Narumi just brushes it off, saying, "Who cares about that formality stuff? Let me finish my sentence." Then, boom, the alarm goes off. Narumi grins and says, "Want to know what that thing is? Well, just watch us take down some kaiju." He's all hyped because, this is going to be like a front row seat to a live-action movie. Flashback 15 minutes earlier. Some kaiju is chilling in the ocean like it's a beach day, and eyewitnesses are straight up hitting the panic button. A helicopter's already on its way to check things out. Fast forward 10 minutes, the defense chief approves a plan, and boom, Captain Narumi and Shinomiya are flying out of Ariake Maritime Base, while the rest of the crew rolls out in armored trucks like it's a Call of Duty mission. The military's prepping tanks, emergency alerts are popping up everywhere, and civilians are told to evacuate. Meanwhile, the authorities think shutting down the Kanagawa Bay Bridge will stop the kaiju. Spoiler alert, it doesn't. The kaiju straight up charges the bridge, destroys it, and drowns everyone on it. Narumi gets all serious and says it's time to take over. Before jumping in, he turns to Shinomiya and casually drops this bomb. "I don't care about manners, being polite, or working hard. The only thing I care about is you showing me some serious firepower." Then, he transforms his umbrella into a spinning chainsaw and cuts through the kaiju like it's made of butter. The kaiju screams like a horror movie, and the whole place gets showered in guts. Narumi goes full savage, saying, "I don't want your politeness. I want you to be unstoppable." Shinomiya's eyes light up, impressed that he's the real deal. A bit later, Narumi's back at the First Division office, and he's throwing a tantrum because all the newspapers are talking about Mina, not him. Shinomiya's like, "Dude, you're the strongest guy in Japan and you're Googling yourself?" But then she notices his phone's buzzing nonstop. Narumi's like, "Probably Mina's dad or some other meeting nonsense. I couldn't care less." Then, Heskawa kicks the door down like it's a WWE match and drags Narumi out for another meeting. Narumi's like, "What's the deal?" Heskawa's like, "It's about Kaiju number 8. And bam, Shinomiya's ears perk up. Cut to Kafka. He's locked up in his cell, pacing back and forth. He's been here for 5 days and still hasn't figured out what to do. He recalls the director's words about proving his worth. 2 soldiers march in and drag him to the director's office. He sees Narumi, and he's like, "Wait, what's this guy doing here?" Then the director drops the news. Kafka's getting transferred to the First Division. Surprise! They want the strongest kaiju to work with the strongest kaiju fighting team. The director's like, "Prove you're worth it, or get lost." Kafka's not thrilled to be treated like a kaiju, but he agrees because, well, he wants to survive. But then Narumi, being a buzzkill, says they only need him to beat the kaiju. The director's like, "Not so fast. Kaiju number 9 can shapeshift, and Kaiju number 10 attacked one of our bases. These aren't your regular kaiju, and we can't assume we're invincible." Narumi's like, "Okay, so you want a super weapon out of Kaiju number 8? Kafka's like, "What?" But he knows he has no choice. He can't die just yet. He's got a promise to keep, to fight beside Mina. With confidence, Kafka introduces himself, but Narumi just walks off saying, "I don't care about your feelings. What matters is results and power. If you lose control again, I'll kill you on the spot and turn you into a suit." Kafka just sighs and thanks him. Meanwhile, Soshiro's telling Mina that all the rookies have joined their unit, and she's like, "Let's get to work. We're not here to mess around." Back at the director's secret underground lab, he's walking through with scientists scrambling around. As they go deeper, the director spots a mysterious person in a glass chamber. In episode 2, a massive earthquake hits. Buildings start falling like a bad Jenga tower, and out of nowhere, bam! A giant crater cracks open in the middle of the city. People rush over like they are about to film the next viral video, only to start screaming when a bunch of creepy eyeballs pop up from the hole. Seconds later, a swarm of giant bugs comes crawling out like it is the apocalypse. The city, completely overrun. But before all that chaos, our boy Kafka has been grinding like his life depends on it. He gives it his all during every single training session. Even when the sun goes down, while the others are cooling off, he is still out there sweating like it is finals week at Kaiju U. And wait a second, is it just me? Or does that one dude look exactly like a younger Kafka? Meanwhile, Kakoru shows up ready for her own special training. She opens the door, expecting a serious lesson, and finds her superior bowing down, begging her for money. She is just standing there like, "Is this dude for real?" He tells her that his entire bank account mysteriously vanished. Spoiler, it is because he blew it all on Yama-on merch. She scolds him like a mom catching her kid buying Fortnite skins without permission. Before the drama gets any worse, alarms start blaring. Mr. Baldy runs off to suit up. Elsewhere, Jen goes full switch mode, now acting serious as he tells the team they are going to crush some kaiju because those bugs just ruined a major negotiation. RIP business meeting. Cut to Shinagawa, where the giant ants are treating the city like a buffet. The city is complete chaos. 2 little siblings are hiding, shaking in fear. Big Bro tells his sister it will be okay. Then, boom, giant ant appears. The kid stands in front like, "Not today," praying Narumi comes to save them. And guess what? Narumi pulls up like a superhero. The kid cheers, calling him by name, but Narumi scolds him like a disappointed dad. That's Captain Narumi to you. Now go home and post online 10 times that I'm awesome. Back in the field, Miku and Kanashi finish mopping up their area. Narumi tells everyone that civilian safety comes first. He then turns to Kakoru and Kafka. Yeah, he literally calls him Kaiju number 8 like it is his gamer tag, and orders them to move out and wipe out the enemies in their zone. Meanwhile, the lab nerds are tracking Kafka's vitals like he is a walking science experiment. At the same time, they are monitoring the shelters to make sure everyone is safe. Everyone's stressed out, but Isao shows up and tells them to relax. Their only job is to wipe out kaiju, no pressure. The soldiers work together like pros, guiding the kaiju into the designated extermination zone. That's where Kikoru is waiting, wielding a battle axe that looks like it was stolen from a fantasy game. Without wasting a second, she charges in and shreds the giant ants, leaving everyone shook. Still, Kikoru is not satisfied. She wants to be stronger. She thinks her attack power is still way below Ashiro's and that she is nowhere near Hoshina's speed. She plows through kaiju after kaiju like a one-woman army, which annoys Captain Shinomiya. Shinomiya tries to act all calm but is clearly ticked off and jumps back into the fight like, "I'm not letting this kid steal my thunder." Everyone else is like, "Bet," and also jumps into action, showing off like it is a competition. Meanwhile, Hasegawa tells Narumi that Kikoru might actually be stronger than he was as a rookie. Narumi snaps back, "Yeah right, I was way cooler than that." So there's this crazy situation where everyone's freaking out because these giant ants, which are usually deep underground like they're hiding from their ex, suddenly pop up to wreak havoc. And guess what? They're not acting normal, which gives off a major something's fishy vibe, reminding our guys of that time the kaiju Winnabers attacked the defense base in Tachikawa. Turns out, these ants might be getting some orders from someone. So Kafka's over here, trying to pull off his kaiju killer act, but he's totally nervous because he knows he's being watched and the pressure's on. If he messes up, it's game over. He tries to use his kaiju powers, but it's like trying to fight a bear with a spoon. The ants just aren't phased. Kafka is scared to go full kaiju because last time he did, he gave Isao a whooping. But he knows he can't hesitate, or he's toast. He's about to transform, but surprise! His transformation fails in the most anticlimactic way ever, leaving Kafka as confused as a dog at a tennis match. The scientists are freaking out, yelling that Kaiju number 8 is failing to transform. Kafka's all like, "Why can't I do it?" Before suddenly, BAM! A massive new kaiju signal pops up right where Kafka is standing. And who shows up? Kaiju number 9, looking like a whole new level of ugly. Number 9's all like, "Yo, are you Kaiju number 8? Kafka's confused as heck, thinking this beast can literally smell kaijus or something. Before he can process what's happening, number 9 attacks, and Kafka's like, "Well, that's rude." He tries to transform again, but nope, fail. The scientists are basically sending out panic signals because Kafka is about to lose control, and they don't want that liability on their hands. Narumi's all chill and says, "I'll go handle this number 9 thing." But as he approaches, surprise again! Number 9 splits like it's some sort of evil magic trick. Narumi's like, "Wait, were there always 2 of these bad boys, or did I miss the memo?" Then, out of nowhere, all the kaiju that were taken down earlier? Yeah, they're back, stronger than ever. It's like a bad sequel no one asked for. The soldiers are freaking out because the situation is rapidly turning into a monster-sized dumpster fire. Narumi sees how much power number 9's packing and knows this fight is going to be a real pain. The soldiers, seeing Kafka getting wrecked, try to step in, but they're nothing compared to number 9. Who casually swats them away like flies. Kafka's struggling, still trying to transform, but his body's just not having it. Meanwhile, in the command center, Isao's watching and the general's like, "Maybe don't move right now, yeah? Don't want you getting any funny ideas in case number 8 loses control." Isao's like, "I get it, but something feels off about this whole situation." Back in the battlefield, number 9's about to send Kafka to the big kaiju graveyard in the sky when, boom! Kikoru shows up just in time and slices number 9 right in half. But guess what? Number 9 regenerates like it's no big deal. Kikoru's like, "Don't worry, I got this one," ready to finish the job. But then, number 9's clone pops up and tells Narumi, "I'm gonna finish you off real quick and then go deal with number 8. Narumi just looks at him. "Bro, I'm the captain. You're just a soldier. Know your place." But of course, number 9 can't just chill and attacks Narumi, who gets super mad. He goes full beast mode and starts wrecking the place, showing off just how much power he's packing. Meanwhile, Isao's watching all this go down and thinking, yup, this is exactly the kind of test the new generation needs. Kaiju number 9 was already recovering from Shinomiya's attack, and she was going to have to handle it alone since Kafka couldn't transform. They dodge a barrage of attacks, and she says she'll hit the target hard so it doesn't move. If number 9 is interfering with Kafka's transformation, there must be a gap, and even though she doesn't want to admit it, she needs his power to win. The two charge at each other, and the kaiju says this is unfair. So, it splits in half, each half for each of them. Shinomiya was managing to defend the shots, but Kafka took one to the hip to keep him alert. Out of nowhere, he pops up behind the blonde girl and hits her too. The mushroom head kaiju was celebrating the victory, but she showed up again, slicing his tentacles like a hot knife through butter. While she says she doesn't want to lose anyone else, She remembers when she was a kid, watching her mother walk through the crowd. Her mother was like a Valkyrie on the battlefield, wielding Kaiju No. 4's weapon. At school, everyone was amazed that Kikoru's mom was the strongest person in the world. And when she came back tired from work, the little girl would jump on her like crazy. She told her that everyone was watching TV at school, saying her mom was the best. She asked if her mom had gotten hurt, but it was just a scratch from today's kaiju. Shinomiya says she's going to join the defense force to help her mom. Her mother told her to always count on her when in trouble. They did everything together, a happy family. Until one day, a mass attack occurred due to Kaiju No. 6. That's when Captain Hikari Shinomiya of the 2nd Division sacrificed herself to save the whole country from this tragedy. At the funeral, Kikoru cried her heart out, calling herself a liar. She had promised to help her mom, but she did nothing. But when she looked at her dad, all she saw was pure hate on his face. After that, she decided to become stronger to take her mother's place. Back in the present, she was tearing off No. 9's arm. But out of nowhere, the ant's head grew and she lost her support. Kafka came in with a flying kick to the monster, but it dropped like a sack of potatoes because his leg was nothing but a peeled orange. Suddenly, Kikoru came flying in, using her No. 6 axe technique to chop the kaiju into pieces. She shouted at Kafka to try again, and he started transforming, saying he would end this once and for all. But just as he was almost there, he remembered the kaiju that entered his body, imagining himself smashing Kikoru into the wall and wiping out her entire squad too. So, fearing he might lose control, he couldn't transform again. The one-eyed guy and the bald dude weren't happy at all. But Narumi says he's heading there because he can't leave this to a newbie. He just had to deal with No. 9, which was with him first. He used 100% combat power to finish off that big head monster. He fired like a madman and sliced the ant's leg with a burning blade so it couldn't regenerate. The kaiju tried to retreat, but Narumi filled it with bullets from his sword that shoots. They started exchanging shots like an old Western standoff, but the mushroom head kaiju was so smart that after the first hit, it learned how it worked. It could even dodge with its eyes closed, and it threw a bomb at Narumi's head, which he barely avoided. But it didn't matter because 1 second later, there were 30 more bombs all over his body. The brass noticed that No. 9 was leveling up mid-fight, totally different from what the 3rd Division reported. This was the first time anyone had seen a kaiju evolve in the middle of a battle, but Narumi yelled for them to chill out, because he is a bigger threat than this off-brand kaiju. No. 9 was confused how Narumi came out without a scratch, and the man said now that his suit was warmed up, it was hunting time. Big Head asked why his eyes looked like a kaiju's, but he did not even finish the sentence before Narumi turned into Ace from One Piece and blew a hole through his gut. That is because Gen Narumi was using his other numbered weapon, Retina 01, the oldest numbered weapon in Japan, made from Kaiju No. 1's eyeball. Now Narumi was so busted that No. 9 could not even dodge his attacks, even after analyzing them, because Kaiju No. 1 had the power to see into the future. It could read brain signals and predict where a person would move before they moved. That is why dodging this kaiju's attacks was basically impossible. From above, Narumi scanned the whole body and found No. 9's core, but the kaiju could not adapt in time and got his core smashed to pieces. The researchers already started celebrating, and the boss said now it was Kafka's turn. But the other No. 9 regenerated instantly, shattered Shinomiya's axe, and turned Kafka into a human colander. Our boy painted the floor red, leaking strawberry juice from every hole, saying he could not transform because he was scared of losing control and wiping out his friends. But Kikoru overheard and told him not to underestimate her, or Captain Ashiro, or Vice Captain Hoshina, or the new recruits, or even himself, because they are the defense force and they can handle it. Then Kafka apologized and said she was right. Kikoru is so tough that even if he lost control, she would tank it anyway. No problem. So he gave it another go, and this time he finally transformed. And Shinomiya said, "Better late than never." Meanwhile, the rest of the defense force was getting whooped trying to take down kaijus that just kept regenerating. But they got the message. Kafka had transformed, and now the tables were turning. Mushroomhead said he knew he was Kaiju No. 8. Then he gave a command and made all the dead Yojus rise from the grave like zombie bug. Kafka thanked Kikoru because he still did not believe in himself, but he believed in her 100%. So he told her to handle the swarm while he goes toe-to-toe with that Funko Pop-headed freak. The blonde said he had some nerve leaving the weak ones for her, and if he dies, she will bring him back just to kill him again. Kafka charged in, but No. 9 said he learned a lot from their last fight. He trapped Kafka's foot and pulled out 2 monster-sized bazookas to blow him sky high, but Kafka did not even flinch. He blasted forward like a freight train, made a crater, and ripped out the ant's core. He exploded the core, saying number 9s must be hiding down there too. He dodged a rain of bullets with his super speed, saying he had barely scratched the surface of his power. Jumped off a building, saying he had way better control of his body now. He got caught in a trap, but broke out before the trigger was even pulled. Then dropped from the sky like a meteor to smash that alien wannabe for good. Number 9 asked if something felt different about him, but he got turned into pudding before he got an answer. The scientists were stunned by Kaiju number 8's real power. And now they finally believed it was worth bringing Old Man Kafka onto the squad. The researchers were celebrating like they just won the lottery, but those Yojus that came back to life started disappearing again. But Kikoru interrupts the party, saying it's not over yet. The director says that the new generation keeps surprising him. The bald guy was stunned that they managed to take down 2 numbered kaijus with barely any damage. He says, without a doubt, this is the invincible division. And now the Shinagawa extermination operation was finished. Kafka deactivates his transformation and celebrates with Kikoru, happy everything went smoothly. Then the director says they did a good job. Kikoru thought it was about to rain since she hadn't heard a compliment from her dad in years. He tells them to keep the area under control until they're sure it's all safe. But Narumi felt something was off, because while he understood the Mushroom Head's claim to kill Kaiju number 8, he also said he was going to steal his power, and he started wondering if the guy had some other plan in mind. Suddenly, the siren blares, announcing the appearance of a new kaiju. And out of nowhere, Kaiju number 9 rises from the dead, saying he's right on time. Sadly, he didn't manage to kill Kafka, but now he'll go after his real goal, which was to steal Kafka's massive kaiju power. Then, suddenly, the guy melts and leaves Kafka confused. But Kafka realizes and tells Captain Narumi that wasn't the real body, because the real one was over in the control room, saying he'd finally found the human with the Kaiju number 2 weapon. Both monsters rush over, saying it was all a distraction. What they really wanted was Director Shinomiya, and Kikoru runs back in a panic. The director orders everyone to evacuate, and the whole squad makes a run for it. But the kaiju sends a little snap and blows the whole place to pieces. Isao says they can't let this monster take Kaiju number 2's power. He orders his subordinates to handle everything there. The guy with the slap says he'll fight too, but Bald Guy stops him, saying they'll just get in the way. The director starts activating his weapon, and Kaiju number 9 says he can't believe Beta and Gamma were defeated so quickly, since they should have been as strong as him. The director says the Mushroom Head evolved faster than he expected. They clashed their punches, sending a blast of wind everywhere. They didn't even send everything flying because it was already all blown up. Bald Guy says, according to the 3rd Division report, his strength level is 8.5. So Isao should be able to win easily. He just didn't expect the kaiju to have evolved so much, and it smashed the director to the ground like a pancake. The kaiju was about to finish him off with a punch to the stomach, but the director barely manages to get up, saying he's gonna wipe that bastard out now. Narumi is on his way as fast as he can. The researcher says the area has been evacuated, and now the boss can leave too. But it's no use trying to run because the kaiju can track their location. So they had to deal with it here and now. The nerd starts remembering all the moments he admired and learned from the director, and he says he'll stay by his side until the end to help him win. Then Isao unleashes his full power, and his fanboy says this will shave off years of his life, but he'll need superhuman strength to take on that freak. And this was Kaiju number 2 at full strength. But even that wasn't enough, and the kaiju starts taunting, saying that this power was meant to be his. The director hits an ascending destruction punch right in the stomach and in his face, decapitating the kaiju. But the kaiju keeps talking, even without a head, saying that was impressive. He sends a series of punches and Isao tries to block them all, but he gets knocked out with a solid punch and sent flying into a building. The director starts whining, saying he got way weaker after his wife died. Then he takes another punch that knocks off 5% of his power. He drops to the ground like a pigeon dropping, and the researcher could not do a thing to help. At this rate, they were not going to last until Captain Narumi showed up. But Isao says over the comms that they will take him down. If they retreat even for 1 second, they are done. So he orders them to use every remaining circuit to attack. Kurusu yells that if he does that, he will never be able to fight again. But the director says it does not matter, because the new generation has grown enough to take his place. And he needs to take down number 9, even if it costs his life, just like his wife did with number 6 that day. But as he is powering up, the kaiju walks in and buries him with a brutal punch that shakes everything. Then we get a flashback to when Kikoru's parents were shocked that she wanted to join the defense force. But it made sense. She was the daughter of two kaiju-slaying monsters, and since she was stepping into such a dangerous job, her mother would have to be extremely strict with her training. She left the job of spoiling her to Isao. Back in the present, the director takes the punch but starts pushing back, saying he was never the father he should have been, and insane levels of magnetic energy start pouring from his body. He is preparing one final strike to erase this nightmare once and for all, so it will never exist in his daughter's future, and he blasts a massive hole in that wretched monster's stomach. The problem is, he is using the same explosive strike from Kaiju No. 2 that once wiped out an entire city, so there is no way Isao would survive firing that kind of energy from a human body. No. 9's core is exposed, but he says he came well prepared to survive. He starts reshaping his whole body into a defensive form, but even he did not expect Isao to fire a second blast. It launches him so far that he slices through a building in the blink of an eye. Kafka and Narumi are sprinting to the scene. Kurusu thought the director was already a pancake, but he was still standing. No. 9 says that even his reinforced body could not survive that. But sadly, this is the limit of humanity. If the director had a kaiju body, he might have lived through it. The man is only thinking about firing one more blast. The kaiju consumes his body, saying it is time for No. 2 to be reborn. When Narumi arrives, he is relieved to see Isao standing, but Kafka yells for him to wait because that is not the director, and they almost took a domain expansion right to the face. No. 9's power was so high it did not even feel like the same guy as before. Now he had a fresh haircut and a tiny little head. Narumi asks where Isao is, but No. 9 says he killed him and fused their bodies. But Kikaru comes flying in, asking who would believe such a lie. She fires 3 rounds that do not even tickle him, and the kaiju asks if she is his daughter. He starts morphing his face, and Kafka yells for her not to look. Narumi jumps in, slicing his legs, telling him not to mess with his subordinate. But the attack does nothing because Narumi had already used that move on Beta, and No. 9 learned how to counter it. He remembers the director saying he would leave the battlefield once the invincible unit was complete, and he entrusted the defense force to Narumi's hands. So Narumi swears he will take this creep down to avenge the director. But No. 9 cuts him off, saying he is done for today. After all, his body rejects the fusion after a while, and he needs to rest. Of course, Narumi is not about to let him walk away, but the monster says Narumi's power only works against a small number of targets, and it is nowhere near enough to scratch his defense. Then Kafka jumps in with a left jab, telling him to give the director back. But the kaiju says that last time Kafka was defenseless, and now he already knows how to deal with No. 8. And man, that was episode 16 of Kaiju No. 8 Factorial. If you want me to bring the next episode as soon as it drops, smash that like button and subscribe so we can hit 1 million subs before the end of the year. And do not miss the next video on your screen. It is insane. I am out, thanks, and see you next time.